Today's story comes from the Beyond the Bump subreddit and was posted by literally just a horse and was titled 16 Years of Marriage. 5 kids. Found out this morning my husband has been having an affair. I, 38 female, and my husband, 39 male, have been married for 16 years, together for 18. We have 5 children together. The youngest is only 5 months old. He is active duty Navy and has been gone for weeks. Yesterday, he came home for a 2-week leave, but immediately wanted to go out to drive Lyft for extra money, which I thought was weird because he hadn't seen us in so long. I even joked as he left that he better not be sneaking out to another woman. He didn't come home until after 5 a.m. At 5:30, he was asleep, and his phone pinged, and I looked at the message. It was a Facebook Messenger message from a woman that said, "Glad you made it home okay. I love you." So I messaged back that I'm his wife, and who is this? The girl spilled. She's on his ship, another sailor. She and he had been having an affair for months. He told her we were separated and that he loved her, blah, blah, blah. I woke him up and confronted him, and he admitted everything. Told me that I've been difficult lately with my postpartum depression. Told me that she isn't distracted by kids, and when they are together, it's just her and him. Told me she is exciting and me and him are too routine. When he got done blaming me, he started blaming her, saying, "You know, I have a hard time saying no to people." I said, "Yeah, you had no choice but to dick her down, I guess." I told him he did not have to choose between us, that she can have him. Worst of all, she's the age of my oldest, his stepson. She's 21, same age. And he said, "I never thought it would be permanent with her because I don't want any more kids, and she's so young, I don't want to deprive her of that." He had a whole-ass other relationship behind my back. Like a girlfriend. Like an, "I love you. Let's talk about a future" thing. It's so fucking cliche it hurts. I can't believe I'm like a fucking Lifetime special having to say, my husband had an affair with a co-worker half his age. I look at my infant daughter, and all I can think is that I hope she stays as far away from marriage as possible. 16 years. 5 kids. Blindsided. I'm such an idiot. I'm just standing in the wreckage of my life going, what now? I told him the marriage is over. I just need a hug. Relevant comments. Opie explained more about her husband's role at work and the girlfriend. Ope replied. He clarified today that not only does he outrank her, but he's her work center supervisor. She's a victim just like me. Ope added. I mean, she's the same age as my oldest child, so to me, she is just a child. I don't blame her for falling for my charming, handsome husband, especially if he lied to her. He's a predator. You should have heard the vitriol he spat about her to me, while to her, he's telling her he loves her. Women need to stick together. Put the blame on the man where it belongs. Commenter 1 says, "Honestly, I don't think your kids will ever be able to look him in the eye. If my dad had cheated on my mom, or vice versa, that would be the end of any relationship with that specific parent figure for me. No one needs their entire family structure and support network shaken because one of the people they're supposed to rely on or see as a safe space can't keep in their pants. I'm sorry you're going through this. I'd straight up tell him that I hope he likes living on a boat because that's the only home he's going to have from now on." Ope replied, "My 13-year-old unfortunately heard us talking early this morning, and so he knew his dad had cheated. Later on, he gave me a big hug and told me he wished cheating was illegal. I told him not to worry about that, and that we will always have each other. And just because me and Daddy's relationship is over doesn't mean his relationship with his dad is over, and that we both love him." He said, "Well, I don't want to go swimming with him tomorrow. He's been upset all day. Sucks. I hate how he hurt the kids worse than I hate how he hurt me." Commenter 2 says, "Screenshots and take half his retirement. If you want, send evidence to his commander, and he will be formally disciplined for potential fraternization." Source, am former military officer. Ope replied, "I have been considering it. All I have are the screenshots of the Facebook messages. I'm worried if I get him in trouble, it could hurt me and the kids too. Right now, his is the only income. I am, stupidly knowing what I know now, a stay-at-home mom. We also live on base housing, and my 13-year-old depends on TRICARE for his medical needs. I'm afraid getting him in trouble would backfire on us. I need to research it more. My head is still spinning." Commenter 3 says, "How do you have a stepson if you've been with this man since you were 18? Damn girl. Leave him. Now." Replied. So my oldest is 21 and was a teen pregnancy with my first boyfriend in 2005. I was 17 at his birth. I met my husband in 2008 and my oldest was 3. In 2013, we had our first child together, again in 2016, 2019, and 2026. Commenter 4 says, I'm so sorry. This isn't your fault. This isn't because of marriage. This is a shitty, selfish man. I bet he would have never told you either. Unsafe, no accountability, what a loser. And with the 21-year-old, take all his money and kick him out. Ope replied, I already kicked him out. When I told him I didn't want him sleeping here, he looked dumbfounded like that stupid Pikachu meme. Mouth hanging open and everything. Like he was so confused, and he was like, why can't I just sleep on the couch? I told him and you are not together, and you are not going to stay in my home. And if you won't leave then, I can call your command in the morning. OP provided additional information. Ope replied, I just want to add one thing. When he was telling me what happened with her, I mentioned, weren't you concerned about getting her pregnant? And he said no because I pulled out. And I said, wait a minute. Does that mean you weren't using protection? And he admitted that they weren't. So now I have to go get a full sexually transmitted disease panel on top of everything else because I'm exclusively breastfeeding our daughter. I'm sharing this because it feels like an extra violation on top of the betrayal. I'm a big proponent of informed consent, and by him withholding that he was having unprotected sex with someone else that took my consent away from me. I just feel extra gross right now. Commenter 5 says, that's freaking rough. And wants no more kids, but is only using pull-out? Dude, Ope replied, now you understand why we have so many kids. Commenter 6 says, did he pull out for all your kids? Ope replied, 2 out of 4. And for this last one, I was on the pill. I didn't know my antibiotics messed with it, so surprise. I love her very much though. I can't imagine life without her now. Commenter 7 says, I think to protect yourself and your babies, get a lawyer first and tell them everything. Let them find out discreetly if there could be serious ramifications that could affect you and your children for going to his command, and then go from there. Either way, you deserve better. Also, you're not an idiot. You didn't do anything wrong. He sounds so selfish and unaccountable for his own actions. It's a real shame when these middle-aged men still have growing up to do. Telling you how hard your postpartum has been for him absolutely sends me. Ope replied, he is mad at me because I sent a doctor's note to the ombudsman saying I had postpartum depression and my doctor recommended having a second caregiver in the home while I got started on antidepressants. The ombudsman sent it up to the command master chief, and he got counseled. They didn't grant him emergency leave, though. He ended up going out another 3 weeks underway. But to him, I made his life difficult by getting command involved. Thing is, since this last permanent change of station, I have no family or friends in this state. So I had no one to help me at all. Commenter 8 says, how young is your youngest? He gets 12 weeks of leave called parental care leave that must be used in the first 12 months unless operational commitments affect that, and the commanding officer give the letter. Has he used it all? Has he used it and not been staying home with you? Ope replied, youngest is 5 months old. He took 2 weeks off when she was born, premature at 35 weeks, but that's all. Told me his command master chief told him that you aren't entitled to paternity leave while on sea duty, and if they let everyone with a baby off for 12 weeks, the ship would never leave port. Of course, every word he says could be a lie, so. Update, 18 days later. So I had an unhappy update. After making him leave, I went to the chaplain for advice, and he asked to speak to both of us. I told him I wasn't interested in reconciliation, but would be willing to talk to him. My husband cried and said he just wanted his family back. The chaplain pushed me to give him another chance and for me to sit down with him at home and have a real conversation before filing for divorce. After we left that session, my husband got all his stuff out of the house and moved in with his affair partner. Yep, even though he cried to the chaplain, he immediately moved in with her. I thought about what to do for a long time and then decided I cannot tolerate this and would tell his command about the affair and them living together. So that weekend I called him and told him what I planned to do. He started freaking out and told me he was going to commit suicide, that he had nothing to live for anymore. At this point, I got in contact with the family advocates on base, and also texted the chaplain about my concerns for his safety and the safety of me and our children. 2 days later, he came by to have our talk. I can't share too many details from here on out, but what I can say is that I reiterated that I was informing his command and had evidence to show them, and at that point he hit me, tried to attack one of our children who was in the room with us, who tried to defend me, and chased us around the house like a madman. My son ran to the neighbor to get help, and they called 911. Police were called, and the base locked down for several hours while they searched for my husband. They found him eventually and brought him to his command where a no-contact order was put in place. Since then, I have filed for a protective order, been working with domestic violence advocates and Child Protective Services, who was called because my child was involved. Child Protective Services has been great, by the way. They told me I was doing everything right protecting my children and put a safety plan in place that keeps them away from us. As far as I'm aware, the Navy is investigating and he may face charges, non-judicial punishment, or court-martial. For now, he is free to roam and not locked away. It's been a very scary time. The child that was involved is currently sleeping next to my bed because he is so scared. I've taken some practical home security steps. I also called a domestic violence shelter to try to get there, but they told me they were at capacity and didn't have room for a mother and 4 children, and the next shelter was several hours away. School is about to start, and I also have to be able to go to court, so that wasn't an option. I also cannot leave the state now because I filed a protective order and it requires me to stay because of the children. So I'm a sitting duck just praying and hoping he doesn't murder us. I'm not exaggerating. Here is a man who can lie like he breathes, who became violent and endangered his own child just for his affair being threatened to be reported. What happens when he faces the loss of his career or even potentially his freedom? I wish I had a better update. I don't. I'm scared to death. I'm working with every agency that will help me: police, court, child protective services, advocates, legal aid, etc. None of it matters if he shows up with a gun in the middle of the night. We live on base with him. It's not like he is far from us, and again, he is not restrained from movement. I bought a plane ticket for my mom, but she can only stay for 9 days and won't be here until the end of August. Everyone, please keep me and my children in your thoughts. I'm doing everything I can to keep my kids safe. Can't believe this is my life after all these years. I feel so awful for my kids. I'm just holding my baby and praying all the time for us. I almost did an update, but I wanted to not deal with this all alone. There's not much anyone can do, but boy, could I use some emotional support. Anyone who's been through this and made it out, please tell me it will be okay. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can relate sadly to a lot of this, right down to he lies like he breathes. This is so scary, and I really hope things work out in a way where justice is served for you and your children. Is it possible for you to physically go somewhere else for a little bit? I know your mom is coming, but can you go to her instead?" Hope replied, "She is in another state, and I legally cannot leave the state now that I've filed a protective order." Commenter 2 says, "Who told you that you can't leave the state? Protective orders usually list the locations he's banned from, but don't put a ban on the petitioner's ability to be safe. What's the consequence if you leave? The protection order became invalid? Will that matter if you're gone? And how would they find out if you left? He would have to report it, and that shows he's trying to violate and find you. And again, what consequence is there to keep you? They're just pieces of paper in the end for both sides." Hope replied, "Neither party shall remove the minor children from the state of heart, which is the jurisdiction of this court, prior to the hearing on this temporary injunction. Violation of this custody order may constitute a felony of the 3rd degree under sections 787.03 and 787.04. Took out the state for obvious reasons, but that's what my order says." Commenter 3 says, "I'm sorry you're going through this awful nightmare. This is a lot to handle all at once. I will be keeping you all in my thoughts. I really hope you keep updating us. Do you have any friends on base you can stay with for a few nights here and there just to get some rest and space from the worry of him showing up?" Hope replied, "I have one, but she has kids and I don't want to endanger them because he knows where she lives." Commenter 4 says, "Oh God, this is the only scenario I would ever consider buying a handgun. Not saying you should, but if I were in your shoes, I would be terrified to death unless I had some physical way to protect myself and my kids that didn't rely on a piece of paper. Only buy one if you are prepared to use it if necessary. And of course, keep it locked from kids. Hope replied, not allowed to bring them on base. Sucks. Commenter 5 says, not sure if you are comfortable with this, but the Reddit community is really generous. I'm going to hazard a guess that you're either in Virginia or Florida. If you cross-post to one of those subs, or even the military sub, someone always pops up offering to pay for a hotel or a spot in their home. I wish I could, but I'm struggling to get by as it is. I wish you luck, and you are definitely in my thoughts. Hope replied, I'm not asking for anything like that. I genuinely just need someone to talk to. There's a thing called the Transitional Compensation Program. So if he gets separated or incarcerated for domestic violence, we'll get his income for 12 to 36 months. Child Protective Services also offered me daycare vouchers so I can search for work. And in my protective order, I'm asking for child support. Plus, our base housing is covered by his basic allowance for housing, for now. I truly do just need emotional support and advice, and someone to tell me it's going to be okay. Commenter 6 says, these are just a list of questions and suggestions. Do you have a security system installed? Do you have extra locks on your doors and windows and each of your children's doors and windows? You can most likely use child locks for indoor windows, but you'll want an internal lock for each of your doors. This includes rooms that do not have windows, maybe a bathroom or pantry. There are internal locks that are easy to remove as well, since I assume it's base housing and you may not be able to make permanent changes. Do you have a safe box for legal documents that you can grab and easily take with you in the case that you need to leave suddenly? In the same vein, do you have a go bag for yourself and each of your children? How much cash can you reasonably get and have tucked away just in case you need to leave? Do you have a pay-as-you-go cell phone to keep charging your car? Always have your gas tank full. Because school is starting again, you need to contact their schools and inform them of the risk their father poses, the legal status that he may be armed, and that he is under no circumstances to be allowed to pick them up. And I know these aren't the best, but maybe if your children have phones, always have them sharing their location or put an AirTag or other tracking device in their backpack. I'm not saying don't have weapons, but buying a weapon after this situation may not look great in a trial if you have to use them. My mama would say to buy a cast iron frying pan and use it frequently. Hope replied, I'm taking a lot of protective steps, I promise. I just can't give details in case he were to find this post. Commenter 7 says, why are men so dumb? Also, let's be a bit fair to the 21-year-old. He told her he was separated. She didn't think she was having an affair. Now that she knows, she's probably struggling to process it. Also, he lied. She's going to face a lot fewer repercussions than him. Opie, I hope you're safe. Hope replied, that was actually another lie. She admitted she knew. So they're both assholes. Commenter 8 says, have you contacted the Naval Criminal Investigative Service aside from command? They may be a stronger option. Hope replied, Navy is going after him from what I understand. Mini update 1 week later. Update, I won my protective order. I know it's just a piece of paper, but I'm so proud of myself. It was so scary to show up because I didn't have a lawyer, but I did it. I faced him, and the judge granted me a 1-year protection order, ordered supervised-only visitation, and ordered him to get batterer classes. I'm so relieved, still taking it one day at a time. The second story is from True Off My Chest subreddit. It was posted by caregiverless8826 and was titled, I caught my mom with our neighbor just weeks after my dad passed away. This is my burner account. My dad passed away a few weeks ago after a long illness. It's been devastating for our whole family, and I'm still trying to process everything. Yesterday, I went home to see my sister and ended up walking in on my mom, 38 female, having sex with our neighbor, around 55 male. What makes it even worse is that he and my dad had hated each other for years. They were constantly fighting over neighborhood disputes. So seeing him of all people was a complete shock as well. I completely lost my temper. I yelled that she was the worst wife and mother imaginable, told her I hated her, and walked out. Since then, she's been calling and texting nonstop, but I can't bring myself to answer. Right now, I feel like I've lost my entire family, and I honestly don't know what to do. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, the thing with grief is that you don't get to dictate how others deal with it or when they move on. You said that your dad was very sick for a very long time. Is it safe to assume that both of your parents knew that it was heading towards death? If so, it's normal that people grieve their partner's death prematurely, making it easier for them to move on faster after the actual death. Hope replied, "That's a fair point. And yes, we all knew my dad's illness was terminal. It went undetected for a long time, and by the time it was diagnosed, it was too late. He was bedridden for months, and everyone knew how it was going to end." Hope he was asked how old they are. Hope replied, 18. Commenter 2 says, "People grieve in different ways. Your way seems to be the fucking worst for everyone around you. Stay away from your family until you can behave. Your mother did nothing wrong. You, however, owe her a huge apology after you've fucking gotten yourself together." Hope replied, "I'm not close with my family except for my mom and sister. I do owe her an apology for being so aggressive about it." Commenter 3 says, "Or maybe your mom and dad were just together in the end to take care of him through his sickness, and they both knew that and had already checked out." Hope replied, "They definitely had their ups and downs. But I do believe they loved each other. They just weren't the type to show it openly." Commenter 4 says, "Your mom is 38 and you live independently from her?" Hope replied, "I live on my university campus." Commenter 5 says, "Chances are your mother isn't as promiscuous as you think, and that she has actually been having an affair with a neighbor for quite some time. Supporting someone through a long illness, as she did with your father, requires enormous sacrifices, and finding some comfort can be incredibly valuable after everything she has been through. Let her tell you her side of the story. You can judge afterward. Considering everything she did for your father by supporting him throughout all those years, which was a tremendous sacrifice, you can at least give her that chance." Hope replied, "I never said she was. I understand your perspective, and you make some fair points." Commenter 6 says, "Your feelings are valid. They're your feelings. You are allowed boundaries. If who your mother is choosing to be with makes you uncomfortable, then I advise building distance. Your mental health is important also, and you are allowed to protect your own peace, especially as you are grieving right now." Hope replied, "Thank you. I really needed to hear that." Update 2.5 weeks later. This is an update to my previous post. Some people asked for one, so here it is. First of all, thanks to everyone who commented on my last post. I never expected that many replies. Reading different perspectives helped me calm down a little and realize I wasn't completely insane for reacting the way I did. Some info I forgot to mention in my last post. I'm 18, my sister is 10, and lives with our mom. My mom is 38, and the neighbor is around 55. After everything happened, I went back to my dorm and texted my mom that I needed some time. It's been a couple of weeks since then, and my head is a little clearer. I've also started therapy. Also, after talking to my therapist, I felt a little more ready to speak to my mom. So I talked to her. We finally video called. First, I apologized for my words and told her that I didn't mean any of them and I do love her. Watching her struggle to breathe through the tears while I tried to calm her down is something I don't think I'll ever forget. We talked, and she told me he isn't as bad as he seemed. Apparently, they met at a support group months ago. He was very supportive, and after a while, she started opening up to him. She swore nothing physical or romantic happened while my dad was alive, only that they became emotionally close over their shared grief. She explained that while her marriage was tense, Dad had asked her to move on long ago, but she just wanted to be there for him, even if she felt their relationship was kind of over. Then she said that she wasn't looking for another relationship, just didn't want to be alone for a while. She doesn't know how it all escalated, but admitted they'd slept together a couple of times, and that she does like him. She kept saying she still loves my dad and her kids, and that no one could ever take our place. She promised not to keep secrets from me anymore. I am supposed to be angry at her, but still feel conflicted. Also, I couldn't tell if she was defending him or her own choices. It felt like she wants to continue with him. My therapist suggested that I distance myself a bit by setting some boundaries, but not by cutting contact, to focus on my own healing. I still have a lot on my mind that I want to talk to my therapist about. But for now, I just wanted to thank everyone who reached out after my last post. It genuinely helped more than I expected. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, "I want you to imagine something. Imagine you married the person you're dating right now and were locked into that relationship for 20 years. Whatever fun you're having as a baby adult in college, your freedom, your opportunities, take those all away and imagine being at home struggling with a newborn instead. Imagine all your friends leaving you behind while you are by yourself figuring out how to run a household and be a spouse and a parent at your age today. Your mom was 19 to 20 when she had you, might have even been pregnant with you when she was the age you are right now. 30s are the prime of life for a lot of women, and she lost her youth to parenting and caregiving. People are getting married and having their first baby in their late 30s. She's probably grieving in ways you can never comprehend. Mom could be an imperfect, messy, hurting person. Just like you, like anyone. Take it easy on her. Nobody taught her how to be a widow. Hope replied, I do sympathize with her, and that's probably why I decided to forgive her. She's flawed, but she's still my mom, and I still love her. Commenter 2 says, I called it on your last post about how your father probably encouraged her to seek something elsewhere. In his state, I'd want the same for my partner. Shit's sad, man. And I got told I was crazy because no one would ever do that. End-of-life care is insanely difficult and taxing on every part of you. Emotionally, financially, physically. Heck, as the old person, I'd feel so angry and sad about it. I'm glad you found closure with your mom. Opie. Hope replied, thank you. I don't know if I call it closure yet, but I do understand things a little better now, and I'm glad we talked. Commenter 3 says, it's okay to be upset and feel betrayed. You just lost your dad. That's a big loss. But two things can be true at the same time. Your mom just lost the person she built a life with. Even if the romantic relationship was essentially over, that doesn't erase the years and experiences that built their lives together. That's a big loss too. Seeing as your father passed from a long illness, maybe your mother was suffering from caretaker burnout. She needed an outlet for all the grief and complicated feelings. They bonded over that grief. And not to gross you out or anything, but if the romantic connection was over and your father was ill for so long, imagine how long it's been since she had anyone even look at her that way. She's your mother, but she's also a relatively young woman. Go to therapy and take your time processing your feelings, but also acknowledge the reality of your mother's lived experience. Good luck, internet stranger. Hope replied, thank you. Therapy is already helping me realize a lot of things. Commenter 4 says, this is tough. While I agree with your anger, your mom is at a stage in her life where she's terrified of being alone, before she knows that she will be alone in that home. Kids grow up and have their own lives. It was in fact extremely fast to move on. Then again, I don't know the dynamics of their relationship when your father was still with us. Sounds like their relationship ended long before he passed. I'm sorry. Oh, best of luck navigating this. She is still your mom, and we all grieve and move on differently. Hope replied, I understand, but I honestly don't know how I'll be able to handle it if she decides to move forward with that man. Commenter 5 says, why did your father even dislike him? You never said the reason why. Hope replied, I don't remember much because I was a kid, but they used to be friendly. I think it all changed after he punched my dad over some comment or something, and after that they used to fight even over minor issues. Commenter 6 says, unpopular opinion here, but your mother needs to cool it with this guy. You and your sister lost your dad mere weeks ago, and she's prioritizing this asshole, and he is, we all know it, over her grieving children. Your therapist isn't wrong really, but you just lost your dad. Who do you go to if you're low contact with your mom? And just so she could get her rocks off? Please. She has the rest of her life to move on. Hope replied, I wish she'd realize that too. Opie was asked what the neighbor was doing at the grief support group and whether he had lost his wife or partner. Hope replied, his own wife left him years ago. She left the marriage, and I honestly don't know much else. Opie was asked why they are mad about the neighbor. Hope replied, I don't like the particular guy. If they get serious, he could become a big part of my sister's life, and I'd have to spend time around him too. Commenter 7 says, Dad's gone. Mom still needs to have a shoulder to cry on. He is there. Things happen. You can be mad about it if the guy is a bad person to your mom, but let's be real. She's still a young woman with a life ahead of her. Let her explore. She's paid her dues in a marriage that is now, unfortunately, over. She's free to bang whomever she wants. No need for the guilt trip. You may not like it. You may even see it as betrayal. But fact is, she is a widow and free to choose. And before everyone starts to come after me, I've been in your position. Mom died. Dad had new ladies in his life. I didn't like them at all until I stopped seeing them as replacement moms and just as companions. Hope replied, "Yeah, I think you're right. Therapy has helped me realize a lot of things I wasn't seeing before." Commenter 8 says, "This is a very personal matter, I suppose, but I can't stand people who can't control their urges when it can clearly come at the detriment of others. It's such a crude thing to do, in my opinion. Distancing yourself and processing over time is probably the best thing to do." Hope replied, "Yeah, I think some distance is probably the healthiest thing for me right now." The third story is from Relationships subreddit. It was posted by MyGoodFuckingShum and was titled Me, 30 male, with my coworker or project manager, 34 female, few months. This is a throwaway because I'm an idiot. This shit will probably be long, but I'll do my best. I'm a software developer, and about 5 months ago, I began a new project where I am working for a large firm and work on-site at a local client for a couple projects they have ongoing. It is fascinating work, and I have enjoyed it quite a bit more than anything in recent memory. There's a joint team of about 10 folks, but for my main project, I work with one person. I'll call her Laura, and she's the project manager, works for the client. So while I don't report to her per se, she is in charge of the administrative side of the project. I don't even know if this is relevant, but we are effectively peer co-workers. Laura started off a bit cold to me because I think she and plenty others was a bit jaded by my company. That changed quickly once I started delivering, and also I think she saw how engaged I am. She is brilliant, and we've put our heads together to solve some very difficult problems, usually working heavy overtime. About a month after I started, we hit our first big project milestone and barely beat the deadline. We went out for drinks after work to celebrate. We both live close to the office, so I offered to walk her home since it was late and her building is on the way to mine. We ended up sleeping together and have been a few times a week ever since. I didn't want to mess up anything at work, facepalm, so I haven't brought up anything regarding our status or whatever, and neither has she. At work, I'm all business, and so is she. We don't take lunch together or really do anything not directly related to the project. Granted, we're both working 60-plus hour weeks also. She's worked her ass off to get this project off the ground, government funding, proposal writing, conceiving the whole idea, and that is the most attractive thing about her to me, in addition to being gorgeous and super nerdy. For the last few months, it seemed like we are friends with benefits, since we don't go on dates other than drinks near our condos sometimes. Sometimes we sleep over, sometimes we don't. Yesterday, she asked to come over to my place because she wanted to talk, and I figured she was going to break things off by her tone. Wrong. She told me she is 8 weeks pregnant. Here's the part where I know I fucked up. After my initial shock, the first question I asked was, "Is it mine?" She burst into tears and stormed out. I tried to stop her and apologize, but she screamed at me in the middle of the hallway. So I just let her go. She wouldn't answer any of my calls last night either, and she called out of work today and tomorrow and has the rest of the week off. How do I get her to talk to me? I've been a nervous wreck since last night, and I just don't know what to think. I've been thinking she's getting an abortion, and that's why she called out. My head is all over the place, and I just want to talk to her. I will support her no matter what, but I don't know how to do that or what she wants or needs from me. Should I send an email apologizing? Wait outside her building or show up at her doorstep? Wait for her to contact me? People have been asking me if I'm okay all day because I'm so out of it. I don't know if I should quit my job or what. Maybe I should text her and ask that. Relevant comments. Fuck Racism Throwaway says, "This is exactly why you don't shit where you eat. You're 30 years old and have a good job, yet you were dumb enough to get into this shit. Good job. No, you don't just show up at her doorstep. What the fuck?" Your question was totally appropriate, since you two weren't in an exclusive relationship. However, I understand that she was upset. Sounds like she's not the person to have multiple partners at once. Wait out. She'll contact you. Don't bother her for now. Hope replied, "I know it was stupid to get involved. I especially should have known better. After thinking about it more, I do think it was an appropriate question, but it shouldn't have been the first thing I blurted out. A while ago, She told me I'm the first person she's slept with in almost a year. I'm pretty certain she's not seeing anyone else, based on other conversations and how much she works, but I guess it is possible still. I wasn't actually planning to show up at her place unannounced, but I just can't think of anything else, and that's the kind of shitty ideas I'm having. I'm just desperate to talk to her. I couldn't sleep last night, and can hardly eat. Commenter says, no, it's not an appropriate question. Why would she tell you about her pregnancy if she didn't think it was yours? And if you think she's the kind of person who would lie to you about it, then why would you think she'd tell the truth if you asked if it was yours? Life pro tip. If a woman you're sleeping with tells you she's pregnant, she is also telling you that you're the father. However, as for what you do about it, send a single email apologizing for blurting out something inane and hurting her. Tell her you are here to support her, whatever she chooses to do. Then leave it at that. Update. 3 days later. The advice I got here was mixed between go see her and give her space. I ended up buying a teddy bear and sewing its foot to its mouth and left it at her door holding a little I'm sorry card on my way to work Wednesday. Barely an hour later, I got a text from her asking if I wanted to come have a serious conversation and CMY child's first picture, the sonogram, after work. I couldn't wait, and I took a half day and left to go see her at lunchtime. When I got there, I started profusely apologizing and trying to explain myself, completely fumbling my words, but Laura stopped me and said she understands and she's not mad. She said she got so upset because I was the first person she was telling, and she was really nervous I would have a bad reaction or try to make her terminate. She also thought I was sleeping with other people because I assumed she was. Then she told me she is 100% keeping the baby, but won't take me to court if I don't want to raise the child with her. I couldn't hold back my laughter at this, and told her she's crazy if she thinks this kid will be anything but priority number one to me. She seemed visibly relieved and then brought up a paternity test, basically saying we will get one once the baby comes. She also brought up names and said she wants to pick the first name, but wants me to approve and for it to have my last name. She must have read a checklist of ways to ease a freaking out father-to-be, because I was losing my mind trying to figure out how to bring this stuff up without putting my foot in my mouth again. I then switched the conversation to us and told her I'm helplessly falling like a brick for her, and at this point the work relationship is the least important to me. We both admitted our feelings for each other and being scared to bring them up because of our professional relationship. I told her I want her to officially be my girlfriend, and she joked this was all it took. We agreed on direct communication from here on out, no more silent treatment, and she knows I'll be there for her every step of the way. So, Laura and I talked some more about how things will need to work, and came to the conclusion we would live separately until the baby arrives. Then she'll rent her condo out and move into mine. Does that sound like a good idea? We know it's not perfect, but seems like a good plan, and we can go back if it doesn't work out. We're going to figure out what to do about work after the holidays. There's enough stress already, and she won't start showing for another couple months, so we have time to strategize about how and when to tell people at work. I am all ears for suggestions on this. I'm still really scared, and my emotions are changing by the minute, but at least there is some semblance of a plan now. Now, to tell the family members. Edit. Holy crap, my original post only got like 5 responses. I will definitely be talking to her about moving in sooner this weekend. My mom suggested this too when I told her yesterday. A couple of recurring things I keep seeing in the comments are that we need to discuss finances and I need to get a paternity test. As for the finances, we've talked a little bit about it, and we make over $300,000 combined. Once we actually see what our expenses look like, it shouldn't be a problem to come up with a plan or budget. I'm willing to pay all baby-related expenses, so I'm sure we can find a solution that works for us. As for the paternity test, she said she wants to get one before I sign the birth certificate. When we first got together, she told me I was the first person she'd slept with in close to a year, and the hour she puts in makes it unlikely she's seeing someone else, though it's possible. She's fair, level-headed, responsible, and, from what I've seen, honest. I trust her, and am going to until she does something to prove I shouldn't. We also realize this is not a great way to start a relationship or a family, but all we can do is try our best to compromise and make it work for the sake of our baby. If we're not a good couple together, so be it. We both have all the tools and support to give this child a great life. That is our primary goal, and our relationship will be icing on the cake if we can get through this. Update. Almost 11 years later. A friend found this post on Best of Redditor Updates and suggested I come update you guys. First, I just want to thank Reddit. Everyone talks trash about the hive mind, but it helped me when I was having crippling panic attacks, not something I've had before or since. It's all so obvious looking back. In the moment, I was just blind and scared. We ended up getting married before the baby came, because after living together for a few months, we were both all in, and there's nothing like family pressure to get the ball rolling. We now have Lana, 10 female, who in fact knows everything, and thing 1 and thing 2, 6 male and female, who just want to see the world burn. We have a great marriage, and I really am the luckiest guy on earth. She's a genius, and puts up with me being such a bonehead. We had an argument when the oldest was 2, and Laura wanted to go for her PhD, and I swore up and down it wouldn't be worth the move, and we'd never recuperate the financial hit. We argued, I caved, and we moved to the Pacific Northwest, and she got pregnant not long after. She, of course, crushed her PhD coursework and research, while I worked extra contracts, my choice, to make sure we had extras. The twins were born in 2020, and that was probably the hardest time of our lives, just trying to keep it together, but we made it work. She immediately got a job as a lower-level executive running the healthcare division of one of the biggest big tech companies out there. She made sure to remind me of my concerns about her finances by asking me to review her offers and help her decide. Staggering amounts that looked like typos to a mediocre tech bro like me. So, off to Build-A-Bear I went, and now we have 2 bears sitting on the mantle with feet sewn into their mouths. I am so fortunate and blessed to have such a great wife and a great family. And it's crazy to think that it may have worked out differently if not for you folks here talking some sense into me. No, I'm not crying, you are crying. I just got a little something in my eye. Thank you, and sorry I did not update after all the advice I received.